Hey, everybody. Welcome back to By the Sword, the Savage Sword and Sorcery OSR, and OSE um, game that we're running now, session 2. Someday I'll get this intro to go smoothly, but welcome back to any of our return viewers, all one of you right now. Uh, I'm sure they'll filter in. We are actually playing. I tried to start the session and it killed itself, so we're back for round 2. So anybody want to recap for the audience where we left off? I guess not.
Don't all speak at once.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, well. Joining us is Sergeant Mushroom. He will be playing Drogo. When we last left off, the group of ne'er-do-wells had reached the city of Lancea and found their way to an inn where they had engaged in an evening of drinking and knife throwing and just general skullduggery. Askir was wagering his way through life. And we kind of faded out there with the group enjoying themselves. We will return this session with them winding things down. The lot of you are still in the inn. How long do you keep the good times rolling there?
Lucaldo is. I'm probably there for several hours, depending on the skills of the people around me. If it seems like they are winning too often or I'm winning too often, I'm going to bow out, and then kind of wandered over to the fellows I met on the barge. If they want to be friendly with me and chummy with me, I'm not going to fight against that, because he is looking for people to help him on the journey to find riches and lore. So if one of these people is one of those people, he's open to it.
All right. Igor, Askir, Orvar?
Askir has been rolling dice at a table with some people. He's addicted to gambling, as you all know, but he's smart enough to know when to pull out eventually. He did, however, lose a serious bet to Orvar with his utter disbelief that there was mead available. And so now he has to pay rounds till the end of the evening to Orvar, and he hopes the evening isn't going to be too long because of this.
All right. Igor.
Igor, he's been conversating with everybody he runs into in this establishment, telling them tall tales the more he drinks. And at some point he approaches Lucaldo and says, "Hey, you know, you're a good man. It's not often we find good men on the barge like yourself."
Well, coming from you, I take that as a compliment.
We could find a lot of treasure together if we put our minds to it. You know what I'm saying?
Our minds in our fists.
Yes. And he gives you a hearty slap on the back and walks back to yelling at somebody else across the room.
All right. So, Orvar, what have you been doing this evening?
Drinking a lot. He's hanging out as long as Azgar is going to pay. He's going to hang out.
All right. So Drogo, you've been in the bar with these folks, being the kind of wild man that you are.
Lots of shirtless flexing for any female willing to pay attention to him. Stories of adventures in the wilderness and beasts tamed, and maybe the occasional "I found a cute kitty" story to whatever earns extra points.
All right. You
And
you
of
would
course,
definitely have a
consuming
couple.
alcohol.
Yeah, you definitely have at least one or two of the serving girls on your arm, listening to your tales of wild adventure, and the saving the kitty stories doesn't hurt at all. Um, so, in fact, the lot of you notice this sort of. I mean, you guys are not the most civilized folk as it is, being a collection of Northmen and a Kruach. I think Lucaldo, you're probably the most, you're Arturian, right?
No, the horse guys.
Oh, that's right, you're Vantican. Sorry, so
Vantican.
you're at least a little bit more civilized, though. You're. So, but yeah, so Drogo, you're kind of stand out even in this collection of sailors and other kind of ruffians that are in this sort of backwater back alley bar. So he definitely sticks out. But yeah, as the night goes on, the crowd starts to thin. Those who have been fleeced by your gambling prowesses, wander off, their pockets lighter. Your alcohol consumption reaches its high point, and then the evening just sort of fades into quiet. You can tell that the place is sort of just shutting down at this point. They're starting to usher out the folks who are asleep at tables, pushing them out the front or the back, and starting to sort of slow down on their service.
I'm going to call over one of the serving people, whether it's female or not, and ask if there's a common room. If there's not, where would the closest one be?
She looks at you and tells you that they only have the bar. There is no there. It's just a tavern. They do not have rooms to let. However, there are any number of boarding houses or other inns. If you go out towards the main thoroughfare, you're sure to find them there. Though at this hour, they may not be admitting guests.
Where's the stable at? I'll just go sleep in a bale of hay tonight. And he's kind of just like, his head's just kind of rolling like this.
She chuckles. She's like, "Sir, this is the city. There are no stables, just here and there. The edge of town."
He looks at her. What?
Igor, we're going to try to find something a little better than that. However, I was not asking about a room. I mean, just that a floor to lay in, that we're not going to get, thrown in jail for being there.
Well, we do not let customers sleep on the floor here.
Understood, and that's why I asked if there was one nearby. If you don't know of one, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll find your way. You look like a capable man, but I do insist that you be on your way. You don't have to. You definitely cannot sleep here. Where you decide to spend the rest of your night is entirely up to you.
Oh, I enjoyed myself, so I have no ill will for this place. And he's going to stand up and look around. Gentlemen and others, who's with me? I'm getting out of here.
They're kicking us out.
Uh,
Let's go.
yeah, I bet it's not worth staying here any longer. I will go with you.
I look over at Ovar.
And
you?
Yeah, I'll thank the mead keeper for the fine drink, and I'll say maybe I'll see him soon, and I'll head out with you. Well, stumbly.
Is there anybody out in the street that's sleeping on the street?
You do see a couple of people slumped, in at the mouth of an alley. But for the most part, the streets seem pretty clear. Remember, you're kind of back in a narrow, um, kind of back alley street. You weren't on the main thoroughfare. You do see occasionally a few folks moving around the alleys, dark silhouettes and shadowy figures moving between the occasional blobs of light provided by a flickering lantern, mostly oil lamps and the like. But yeah, it's pretty late. You can even tell by the sky that you're probably the other side of midnight at this point.
I'm looking for places to sit down, like a log or something.
So, Drogo, you also would have been shown the door
Yes.
along with the rest of them. So, you find yourself in the company of these other four, whether or not you like it or not. They're do you have an animal with you, or
No, I don't. No, I hadn't established that yet. No. So, well, it looks like we're on our own, gentlemen. Have a good night, morning, whatever it is. And I start kind of walking off, trying to find a spot.
all right?
Since I probably showed up in the inn or the tavern as soon as I got to town without thinking about securing a place to stay in true barbarian fashion.
Pretty much like us. Man, they were fast.
Sleep with the beasts in the hay bales.
In fact, is there any kind of barn or anything nearby? I know it's the city, but
So,
She said,
because I would probably feel more comfortable.
as you're standing around deliberating, one of the figures that seems to be snoozing out in front of the tavern lifts his head. He's got a cloak pulled up over him. You're on the coast here, so it's a port city, so it's chilly. The air is chilly. I mean, you're in a northerly climate, so imagine a northern European port city. So it's cool, and you're getting on towards winter. He kind of looks up from under his hood. He's like, "If you're that desperate, I could probably show you to a place to spend the night. I was just waiting to get my legs back under me before I headed there myself."
I look down at his legs, and I look back at him, and I say, "You are above your legs right now."
Unfortunately, they weren't up to the task of holding me up, but I feel they're coming back to me now. And he kind of wobbles to his feet. You can tell by the smell coming off of him and the redness of his nose that he was into the hard stuff most of the night. And he
Does he look trustworthy at all?
It's hard to tell. He
Yeah.
looks inebriated at this point. He's red faced, and based on his general appearance, he's kind of withered and poxy and kind of a bulbous nose. He's probably a drunk by the look of it. Just like a pretty frequent. This is more than likely his life. So,
I go, "Wait, everybody," and I go next to the building, and I pee first.
Kind of drunkenly, I say, "Well, I was a scout with the Legion. Surely I can find our way out of this back alley." And I kind of look up.
it's like, man of the Legion.
The stars. Figure out which way we came in here.
He kind of peeks you on the
Aesir turns to Drogo and says, "I'll bet you a copper Orvar is lost."
The old man looks over at you, over. He's like, "A man of the Legion, eh? The Legion made the man you see before you." And he kind of puffs out his chest and almost falls backwards into the wall.
I
Yeah, I wasn't in the Legions as long as you, apparently.
I spent too much time in the Legion.
Well, that's a good thing, Orvar. You're still here, right? You might not be if you're in the Legion.
I had to go somewhere.
Well, lead on, army man, and he points towards the old drunk. Unless Orvar, you have secured your sense of direction already, and Lucaldo's obviously drunk.
The stars seem to be orbiting a little faster than normal Orvar.
Well, you know, who am I to rob the man of his glory? He can lead us.
Well, fall in line, man. I'll show you the sanctuary for the night or the rest of the morning. He kind of wanders off down the nearest alleyway, kind of starts heading back into the alleys.
It's times like this that I'm glad I have this staff.
So, you guys follow in behind him,
Yep.
or
Sure. Yeah, I'll follow him.
Yeah.
I don't really have any choice.
I'm still looking around because I'm paranoid about chamber pots.
definitely looks like a few do get flinged out windows around here. So, based on what you're walking through, you are not even in paved streets at this point. You're in muddy streets, muddy back alleys.
As soon as he mentions that, I look up.
Fortunately, everybody's asleep at this hour, so you don't have to worry too much. Anybody with any sense is asleep. So you kind of wind your way through, and he stops and starts kind of coughing. Like leans over. He's having a coughing fit. And as he finishes the end of his coughing, you can hear the mud squelching behind you.
I look behind us.
Behind you, you see several men moving down the alley behind you. They are clad in sort of, they're in dark cloaks, but you can see the flash of steel from under the cloaks. And two of them are holding long poles with sort of claws at the end of them. You recognize them as man catchers.
So unless it's the constabulary, I do believe the evening is not over.
Even if they are the constabulary, I don't intend on being on a
I take
boat
out my hand
tomorrow.
axes.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to catch me in that thing, Caldo.
Yeah.
You're not going to catch me in that.
Okay.
Aesgear kind of tries to go into the nearest doorway or small alleyway between two buildings as discreetly as he can.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're easily able to find a doorway to duck into. Most of the architecture around here, like I said, is plastered walls with tiled roofs with sort of like, those little nook doorways that you would expect to see. So you're able to find some place, but they are definitely hurrying towards you. And as you're watching this group come up from you, hear squelching coming from the direction you were heading, indicating that there are men on both sides of you.
I'll turn and I'll look at the old drunk and see if he's looking at us or if he's still around.
He appears to have slipped off out of your view when your back was turned.
Of course.
He set us up, didn't he?
Lucky we were gonna.
There were only two options here. He was talking truth or he was setting this up. And I was ready for both.
So as the cloaked figures are approaching, you see that they kind of push their cloaks aside, except for the guys who have the man catchers, and some heavy cudgels come out from under their cloak, and one of them growls, "You're going to make this easy, or you're going to make it hard, drunkards?"
I'm going to make it hard, and I throw one of my hand axes at him.
Jeez, okay.
A minute of action.
Well, I will give you an attack right up right up
Drago,
the gate,
that's it.
before initiative. So go ahead and make your to hit rolls.
Okay, now, Not familiar. Is this a D20?
Yeah, we're doing ascending armor class D20. So, yep. So just roll and tell me what you got.
I got an 8.
Your first axe swings wide and kind of ricochets, skips off one of the plastered walls. You said
Correct.
hand axes. Are you throwing
Yeah.
just that you're throwing 2?
Yeah, I've got 2. Yeah, so I'll throw the other one at him. Perhaps I was a little more drunk than I thought.
Do the other one at a -1 for being offhanded.
So that was a 10.
Still sails wide, and this is. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and roll initiative. Just a D6 for this one, plus your Dex modifier. All right, what'd you get?
6.
I rolled a 1.
I got an 8.
Who got the 8? Lacaldo?
Yeah.
Orvar?
I got a 2.
2. Ace Gear.
I rolled a 6, and my Dex modifier is 1, so that's 7.
All right, cool.
I rolled a 1.
Well, so you guys won initiative. So definitely we're going with OSR with the OSE. So we're doing group initiative here. So you guys just kind of tell me how you want to do this.
I'm hoping they'll walk by the doorway I'm in, and if I see they're being actually hostile, I can backstab them.
Okay. So you're kind of holding off and watching
Well,
to see.
even if they weren't hostile, some guy just threw 2 axes at him.
Well,
So
that
what-
was my intention, and then I see 2 axes go by.
So I did forget the declare actions stage, but we'll do that in the future before initiative. But go ahead and just tell me what each of you guys are doing now.
I'm gonna position
I'm going
myself
to
in
try.
that doorway that Asker is going into, and I'm gonna give it a little room so that a person can fit between me and the doorway. And I'm gonna stand there ready with shield and spear.
Okay. And Lacaldo?
I am going to try to secure our exit by trying to get the group that's coming the way we were trying to go to run in fear.
Okay. So you're going to use your fear ability again?
Yep.
All right. Go ahead and roll it.
Okay. So the color is he basically sticks his stab between his face, looks through, gives them the evil eye, and starts gibbering in a language that I doubt anybody knows.
Very Mako from Conantino.
He's sort of twitching when he does it.
And 49, so no. Not
Okay.
as a first level guy.
Orvar.
I'm gonna, if they're within not too close, I'm gonna draw my bow and maybe take a shot at the guys, the man catchers behind us.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
Yep. Go ahead.
Oh, the nat's 20.
All right. Well, you definitely hit him.
D8. 5.
5.
Yeah, I rolled a 5.
All right. And you were shooting for one of the man catchers, right?
Yeah, man catcher.
You hit him square in the face. There's a not even a shriek as he just tumbles into the mud and kind of slides dead ahead of you. So yeah, there's the 2 man catchers behind you, and then there's 4 on the other side of you. So, all right. So that would then bring us around to them. The remaining man catcher continues running forward towards Orvar. He kind of lowers the man catcher forward as if he's going to charge in, moving past you, Ace Gear. So you would definitely be able to take your held action if you wanted.
Yeah, I will.
Is he
And
now
oh
in
boy.
between both of us so that we are actually flanking him?
He would be running in front of both you. So he's not between you.
Okay, well, I totally miss. He's too fast.
What's your roll?
A 3,
Oh yeah.
even with +4.
But Igor, go ahead and make your attack, seeing as you held off too.
Okay. Oh no, that's a 4 to hit.
All right, so he continues to run towards Orvar, feeling the whiff of air behind him as a staff and whatever. What are you
sword.
carrying?
A short sword.
Yeah. So, continues on and lunges at Orvar with his man catcher and sends a dice flying. All right, that's going to be a miss. Fortunately, you are equipped well enough for him. He doesn't even come close. He lunges past, slips in the mud. The man catcher, you can feel it kind of ruffle the air around you. Meanwhile, the other 4 close from the other side of you, and your backs are kind of all turned. Actually, the only one facing them is you, Lacaldo, right? Because everybody else turned to face the man catchers. So, Lacaldo, you're being charged by 4 men with cudgels. Only 2 of them can fit because the alley's narrow. The first one is going to pile in. He's like, we tried to get you to come nicely, but no, you want a cracked skull, don't you?
And I'm still just blah, 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 blah.
Evidently, that's enough to throw him because he misses. He swings wide, and the other guy kind of lowers his shoulder and almost goes into a body check rather than to club you. And he actually impacts with you. Fortunately, though, he is not trying to beat you with a club and only does a single point of damage. So, but he does knock you back a bit. Go ahead and real quick roll me a dex check. Roll under D20.
Roll under the dex.
Yep, D20 roll under.
Rolled a 4.
You manage to keep your footing in the slippery, muddy streets as this guy piles into you, and that will bring us around to the start. And so you guys have initiative again. I'm not going to re-roll round by round. Go ahead.
Did Drogo get an extra turn?
Oh, that's true. Drogo, your turn. I'm sorry. I totally forgot that you got the free turn with your actions.
No problem.
You should have acted before then, but oh no, you didn't because you got.
No, I didn't. Well, whoever's close to me. I draw my short sword, so I don't know if that's an action.
Well, at this point, you're facing the guy with the man catcher who charged. He lunged at Orvar and missed, but because Orvar had killed the other guy with his bow, so he was focusing on the guy who killed. So you have easy access to him. He's within melee range.
So I'm going to try to stab him in the side with my sword as he goes by.
All right. Go ahead and roll it.
Oh, God damn it. 12.
Well, that's enough. You managed to hit him as he comes by, just barely, but your blow connects. Go ahead and roll me damage too.
Okay. And what's the damage for a short sword?
That's going to be 1d6.
1d6. And I don't know if I have... Do I get a... Let me check my strength here real quick. Do I get a strength bonus if I have a...
What's your strength?
Let me look. 16.
Yeah, you'll have a +2, I think. Let's go ahead and give it a +2 for now.
Okay, so I rolled a 6 + 2, 8.
It is indeed +2.
Yeah, I know, because OSE starts its bonuses at 15, if I recall. All right, cool. So you did 8 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Your blade sinks deep, and he wilts under the blow and kind of splats into the mud. Orvar, he kind of drops right in front of you.
I yell out, or after I drop him, I yell out, who's next?
So after that leaves the way you came clear of any foes, and the other 4 still on their way. So, and that then brings us to the top of the next round, and you guys all have initiative except for Drogo.
Okay.
How far is Drogo and his closest enemy?
Well, the closest enemies are kind of at this point
On me.
on the other side of Lacaldo. Yeah, so you guys, I mean, you are close enough to Drogo because you kind of were in this cluster going through the alley when this fight broke out. So, what's your next move? What are y'all doing? Let's just go from the top here. Ace Gear.
Isgear, he's too far, I think, to melee with the ones in front of Localdo. So he's going to pull out his sling and cast a stone.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. And that's a 12 plus 1, 13.
All right, you hit.
Okay. And that's a whole point of damage.
The stone plinks off of his shoulder. He kind of exclaims a combination of annoyance and pain as it does. Lacaldo, what are you doing?
I am going to pull out one of my daggers and fling it at the furthest. Not the guy right in front of him, just kind of like trying to surprise the guy away from him.
All right.
Not game mechanics, just rather than the guy right in his face.
Yep.
Yeah, that's 3, 4. That's an 11.
Just barely miss him. The dagger goes sailing past him. Igor.
I look at the ones threatening Lucaldo, and I rush over there with the spear, and I aim for right here, just above the collar on his armor with my spear, and stab the enemy with it.
All right.
Does a 14 hit?
It does.
That's 7 damage.
That is enough to pierce through his neck and out the other side, leaving you with a kind of a hanging body on your spear.
I try to pry him off with my front foot out of his neck.
As you're doing that, Orvar.
Orvar watches Drogo kill the man beside him, and he snarls, "Dogs trying to take the wolf," and I'll take a shot at the remaining men.
All right.
Only a 9.
Too close is the range, too quick is the action. You slip in the mud, whatever the reason, your arrow sails wide, and that will bring us around to the bad guys and then Drogo. So, the remaining 3, because there's 3 of them left. At this point, let me go ahead real quick. They hold their own and keep coming. Orvar, you feel like another bludgeon come towards you and miss. Evidently, their ambush was ill-planned, and they are unprepared for the battle. Drogo, Igor, having slain one of them, another one is going to swing at you. Let's see. And hits. So he's going to come down with his cudgel on you for 2 points of bludgeoning damage, where, of course, we're in OSE, so we don't really worry about that. But 2 points of damage as it thunks upon you.
2 points to me.
Yes.
Got it.
All right. And so the third guy is going to continue piling in towards Drogo now, because, of course, Drogo also dropped one of them. And hits it solidly for 2 points bludgeoning. On Drogo.
Oh, okay, 2 points.
Yep,
Okay.
2 points. I keep wanting to call out damage types, and then I'm like, I'm not playing 5th edition. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, narratively speaking, it makes a difference. I mean, it could be the difference between you being dead at 0 hit points and, just knocked out. And besides, we're using the fun critical rules for this one, anyways. All right, so that brings us to you, Drogo. You are not dead. You are still standing. Your initiative.
I laugh and I say, "You hit like a child," and I stab him with my sword.
All righty.
$13.
That hits. How much damage?
7.
Drops
I
him.
rolled a 5. So 5
He
plus 6.
crumples on your blade, falls against the wall, slides off of it. The last 2 men kind of see this and turn and start to run down the alley. Orvar, you seem like you're ready to let loose an arrow. Go ahead.
I got another dagger in you if you need it.
Only 11.
That hits. I mean, with their back turned, I'm not going to give him any kind of dex bonus or anything like that.
Well, it was for an 8 damage.
8 damage, drops him in the mud, splat. And the other guy continues running into the night down the alleyway.
We're drunk, but we're not that drunk. He yells out into the night.
Oh, I did miss
Are there
one.
any more enemies? I look around.
At this point, the alley is quiet. You are surrounded by the dead, and you can hear the squelching feet of the last man running away.
I
look
retrieve
at them
my
and I
hand
say,
axes.
Let's take what they got.
All right.
Well, to the victors, the spoils. Let the men with the kills have the first.
Well.
I got to go find my dagger.
They're not going to need it where they're going.
Right. So you spend a little time fumbling around in the dark, because I mean now you're all rough men and spent a lot of time out in the wilderness. So I'll assume you have decent night vision, and so you're able to find your weapons. Also, an assortment of man catchers and clubs and knives if you want, but because each of the men had a club and a knife on him, and the man catchers had a man catcher and a knife. They are wearing suits of brigandine. The man catcher guys are, so they actually have pretty decent armor on them as well. And each of them has 10 gold pieces. So that would be a total of 50 gold from the 5 that you dropped.
Nice.
I look at Drogo. Those are nice brigandines. We should don them.
If they fit.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not
Well,
into
there's
murder.
5 of us, and there's 5 of them. I bet some of them will fit.
Let's, I guess, start.
There's only 2 suits of brigandine. The rest of the guys are wearing leather.
Okay.
Well, I'm not into wearing armor, so you guys have fun. While they're doing that, I'm going to keep watch in case that guy had his friends.
Okay. All right. So in the night is quiet. Again, you hear sort of the occasional bark of a dog, yowl of a cat, the occasional noise that you can't quite put your thumb on and gives you pause. But yeah, you are now quite alone again in the alleyway.
That gave me an appetite.
I am no longer tired.
As we were stripping the bodies and whatnot, I was just trying to see if they had anything, kind of insignias or what kind of clothing, maybe that might be distinguishable as to who these people were that were trying to waylay us. I mean, if I see it again, I might not be so friendly towards that person.
Yeah, they actually have. Each of them has a tattoo somewhere on them at different places. You may not find it on all of them, but you find it on enough of them to know that there's some commonality. It looks like a very stylized owl. Kind of done in sort of a Norse sort of scroll work owl.
If the cloaks
you
are fairly
recognize this?
generic, Aesgear will take one of the cloaks.
Oh yeah, cloaks are in pretty good shape. They're functional. They're not fashionable, but they're definitely usable. I mean, honestly, they have boots. They have they have gloves. So if you're wanting to kit yourself out for free, you have several bodies here, minus a hole or two.
Yeah, I look at the furs on my body and I'm like, I'm putting this on.
Okay, so you're going to grab one of the pieces of brigandine?
Provided it will work with me.
Yeah, what was your strength again?
13.
Okay, yeah, you're within that lower average or the higher average. So you're able to actually slip into one of the suits of brigandine. It smells not worse than you.
I mean, that's a plus, I guess.
And Orvar, you like you said, you were able to find this owl tattoo on a good number of them. Like, unless you're going to go searching too hard, you didn't find it on all of them. But
no, that's fair enough. I'll thank Drogo for.
Might have a butt tattoo of an owl or something. You didn't find it.
I'll think about maybe skinning one, but it's too much work. I gotta take a piss. And I thank Drogo for dropping the one that came after me.
You're welcome.
Drogo, you're a fine addition to this group. I pat him on the back as hard as I did Locagle.
He probably doesn't move as much.
It's solid.
You do not hit like a child.
As you were kind of complimenting one another and celebrating, something passes overhead. There's kind of you hear a rustle in the air above you, and you catch the glimpse of a dark shape going from rooftop to rooftop.
I think we should keep moving, gentlemen.
That sounds like a plan. Let's go.
Yeah.
This time, I will lead the way.
Yes, I think that should be the rule from now on.
So, which way are you going? The way you came, back towards the main street, or deeper into the alley, the warren of alleys and stuff that are kind of the slums?
Streets would probably be safer.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find my way back to the main street.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are easily able to navigate back to where you had found the honeyed tart, which is on one of the side streets. And that, so you're at least back in the occasional lamplight in the city. Where do you go from here?
Still looking for
where are we?
Still looking for a flop house, someplace where we can sleep a couple hours at least.
All right. So wandering around for a bit. Somebody go ahead and roll me a d6, please.
4.
4? All right. It takes you a good amount of time, but you do find what looks to be exactly as you had said, a flop house. There is a place that is still open and taking people into a common room. And it's literally like, it looks like it was probably a different kind of business at one point based on the layout of the floor. But it is nothing but a bunch of cots now with some hanging lamps and a bunch of rather repugnant individuals just kind of sleeping around. The woman who lets you in is dressed in what looks like old, disheveled priestess robes. She doesn't speak a word to you as she admits you, but shows you to a bed, each of you to a cot, and makes a blessing symbol with a sign with her hands, and then just sort of fades off into the darkness of the place.
That's not ominous at all.
It's probably
You
not
can do 10
commonplace.
gold
We
pieces
passed a
on
lot
that.
of religious types just trying to get through the gate. I sit down kind of heavily and because in my thought process, this is probably the normal way these guys just sleep. So this is not strange to them, is it?
Strange to you guys?
Yeah, Localdo and these guys. I mean, especially, Igor's been in this town once, so
Yeah, Igor's been working the barges back and forth.
Yeah.
And you guys have probably been to Lancea before in your times of service. I mean, this is the place that one of the places that if you're military, you go to the garrison town that's closer to the line, but the people who are in the auxilia and stuff like that, they tend to go to Lancea because it's a free port, so they can either go there, find work, or get a boat going elsewhere, back home, whatever. So I would say you guys have been here probably. I mean, except for maybe Drogo. And I don't know about Ace Gear's travel, but any of you who have served have likely been here before.
Well, I'm not going to sleep.
Okay.
I count my money and I'm looking around for those women that I thought might be in here.
There are none of that kind here. This is not that sort of place by the looks of it. Like I said, a lot of downtrodden looking folks sleeping it off on a cot.
I give up and go to sleep, but I keep my boots on.
All right. Orvar?
I adjust my gear. I settle down for bed, and I keep my dagger under my head as I go to sleep.
All right. Ace Gear.
Ace Gear does the same thing. He'll just wrap himself in his new cloak, keep his hand on his brand new dagger he acquired the night before, and go to sleep.
And Localdo?
yeah, that's what I said. He basically sat down heavily on the cot and then just rolled over. He didn't try to make himself comfortable. He didn't take off anything. He just ready to jump up and run, if the case may be.
All right. Morning comes. As it, very sharp points of light kind of leak into the dark space through the various cracks in the walls and the slitted windows at the street level that you're on. You wake and you hear the shuffling of people around you as the other folks who are here are clearly rousing as well. The old lady is there, kind of walking around with a stack of wooden cups and a cauldron that with a ladle that she's ladling out what looks like a pretty thick, hearty gruel from. To any who will take it.
I say I'll take it, and I eat it. I eat it real fast. Don't try to taste it. Trying to clean off the stuff off my beard as it falls out.
To any who accept it, it is a rather hearty, root-heavy stew. It's like winter roots cooked to the point where they're basically mush, but it tastes of winter roots and no seasoning. So, but
I take some.
It fills you.
Yep.
And they give the old lady I slip her a gold piece. And I
He's
say, thank you for your hospitality as I take the...
She smiles a toothless smile, and you catch that as she does, she has no tongue. And she slips the coin into her apron and continues going around. Leaving you all to your business as you eat your breakfasts and get on with your day.
That was fun.
You have a strange definition of fun.
The new knife that I found on the soldier Any strange markings or insignias on it?
Pretty nondescript, kind of low rent blade, the type of thing that you would expect a thug to be carrying.
Well, are we going to strike out on our own, or are we going to go look for someone? Because I have no leads at the moment.
Well, when we were over at the establishment last night, did anyone overhear the talk about pirates? Did anyone else hear that talk besides me?
No, I
was
was over
preoccupied.
trying to win gold by throwing daggers. So those guys weren't talking about hiring or getting hired, even though I was open to one of them joining our crew. They didn't seem inclined.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about some caravosans that were looting ships.
Yes, Ascar, that's what I'm talking about. Where there's loot, there's coin. We all
I
love
think you're right.
coin, don't we? Can't get enough of it.
Well, I don't know if I.
I'll
can't
bet
get
a
enough,
copper
but I'm
point.
not
All of
adverse
us
to it.
here like coin.
I'm sorry. I didn't catch your name. And
Me?
he points to Drogo.
Drogo.
Drogo. Okay. I'm Lucaldo.
Nice
Much
to meet
appreciate your assistance back then.
you. Well, I believe there's a fair amount of self-preservation.
Yeah, you were kind of in the middle of it, whether you wanted to or not.
That's an understatement, brother.
I don't think we wanted to go where they wanted us to go because I don't think they were the authorities. I didn't feel
Sometimes
like
you
being
can't
press
trust
ganged.
the authorities.
I did notice when I was retrieving my arrows and we were stripping their bodies that many of them had a tattoo of an owl on their body. I'm not sure which company they were from, but I think they're going to press us into service if we were lucky.
Yeah, that was my fear, that we would be on a boat right now, probably in shackles.
Aye.
Yeah. I don't want to go through something like that again.
Doesn't sound like a good idea.
The city sounds like it's starting to wake up outside. You're starting to hear traffic on the even the side road that you're on. People moving by, the kind of hustle and bustle of a waking city. By the light, you'd say it's probably late morning.
Askir, you said something about people hiring us. There was a rumor.
Well, no, but there's talk about Caravosan pirates attacking ships along the coast.
Oh,
It is true.
Perhaps someone would want to hire us to protect their ships.
well, as much as I was talking about not wanting to be on a boat, there are good ways to be on a boat. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd rather watch others row than row myself.
That's a good way to put it.
We get on a boat, we can visit distant places, we can find opportunities.
Meet strange people and kill them.
If we have to, yes.
Well, I have no love for the Caravosans from the last time we met. So, and I do need some coin if I want to go back home. I have a weregild on my head. So I need to pay it back if I can go back to my village. So I'm looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you doing?
Sounds like we're talking ourselves into becoming mercenaries.
It's got to pay more than the barge work.
You'll be off-season mercenaries.
Yeah.
It definitely pays more than getting mugged in the alley or
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys made 50.
I was going to say,
Well, actually, I take that back. Maybe we can roam the alleys and mug the muggers.
yeah,
Come on,
Yeah.
the anti-mugging league.
Become the guardian angels of the city.
We've only been together a day, and I can see this team coming together.
All right. So, where are you heading to then? After you eat your breakfast and speak of your plans?
Yeah.
I'll bet we find the boats at risk of being attacked by pirates at the port, so I suggest we head there.
And I have to make a break for a moment, so Localdo's just going to join the crew.
Does anybody else need a break? We are at the 1 hour mark. Does anybody need a bio break? Get some water, anything like that?
I'm good.
Sure.
You can continue on. It's
All right, cool. I just figured I would check, seeing as you're stepping away, and we are at that hour mark. All right, cool. So heading to the waterfront then. Is that what I'm hearing?
We
If
should
there's
scout it out during the daytime first, definitely.
Yeah.
If there's some place I can stop and get a caffeinated beverage of some kind, I will do so.
Being a
The
trade
local Starbucks.
being a trade port, there are definitely overseas merchants and stuff who sell coffees and teas and stuff and other elixirs of less reputable nature that'll pick you up if you need them.
Less reputable. That sounds fine.
All right. So, making your way down towards the waterfront as you get out of the back alleys and into the bustle of the city, merchants become more prevalent as you hit those mercantile streets that border the waterfront, the port. So you're able to definitely find your beverage. Merchants of all sorts are calling out. It is definitely a different sort of fare because, of course, the winter's coming, so it's not a lot of you don't have any summer fruits and spring fruits and stuff like that. There's squashes and stuff like that are for sale, and the sort of fall and early winter harvest. You make your way down to the waterfront. You can see a good collection of ships from various nations there, and kind of have your choice of ships to approach if you want to.
As we're walking, I keep an eye out. See that old drunk again, because he needs a punch in the face. And I keep an eye out for random owl tattoos on someone's neck or hand or what have you. Just kind of keep an eye out for that kind of stuff.
All right, cool. Go ahead and make a real quick wisdom check for me. Roll under there.
Oh, I do think so. No, I did not. Sadly. No, I failed.
Oh, okay. So you don't notice anything in passing. The crowd is a little thick for you to be able to really see too much. Definitely notice that there are clusters of different groups. Obviously, down here you've got the nations sort of keep to themselves, especially around the ships. You can see crews of different nationalities here. There is one ship in port that stands out amongst the rest of them, though. You see there's actually an Arturian war galley in port. It's got the bright blue painted sides and the banner flying high with the phoenix on it.
Well, that looks like as good a boat as any that would be worried about pirates. Shall we go check out that one? My good thirst.
Yeah. Watch your back, boys. Let's go.
Make sure I grab my my cloth that shows that I was part of the army, and I pin it to my lapels so you kind of see that I'm not just some random Northman walking by.
I resemble that remark.
I do as well.
Same here.
You guys make your way down towards the Arturian Gallia, then you kind of push your way through other crews, and you can see at the slip where this particular ship is in, they've got guards posted there. Just a couple of Arturian Marines with their leather armor and their round shields and spears, and they kind of give you a look as you sort of approach. Hold! What's your business?
There is rumors of pirates abound. I'm good with a bow if you need someone to help pick off these vultures. And I kind of like make sure I show off my, my army cloth or insignia.
Yeah, looks it over, and he kind of smiles a bit. He's like, "Our crew's pretty full. Not to mention, this is a vessel of the Empire, not some mercenary sloop."
Fair enough, good man. Any ideas who might be looking to hire, extra blades on their ship to help them? Protection, you might say?
I heard that there are several merchant vessels ready to leave in the next day or so. They'd probably be your best bet. We're taking on supplies and won't be ready to return to our patrols at sea for another week.
One last thing, my good man. Last night we were assaulted by owls during the night. Any idea of where they might have come from?
They look at each other a bit. Owls, you say?
Yes. Featherless owls, I would say.
They kind of converse amongst themselves a bit. As you have this conversation, you do see a sort of fat, bald man in loose, rather threadbare silks approaching you. He speaks up. Excuse me, good sirs. I hear you have owl problems.
Well, not anymore.
No. More of a nuisance than a problem, I would say.
Well, if the owls have come after you, it sounds like somebody was trying to make slaves of you.
That's what I figured.
That is not gonna happen.
The men who wear this symbol, they are minions, slavers, bad men under a man named Ulo. Yes, he runs a gang in the city, but manages to avoid the eye of the authorities. Somehow, the city watch never seems to bother him too much. I feel it's probably because enough of his slaves end up on Arturia's galleys that they turn a blind eye.
So what is the name of this gang?
They have no name per se, but Ulo is their leader, and they are a disparate band. Let me guess, you were at the Honey Tar.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It is a trap set by one of his lieutenants, a woman by the name of Parta.
Parta.
Yes, she owns the tavern, and she lets him know when potential slaves and oarmen make their way into the tavern. Some end up in the fighting pits, so you're lucky that they didn't take you that direction.
That's the only thing that makes sense, because if they thought we were going to go quietly,
My friend Lucaldo over here would not take to the fighting pits.
I will say, if you have escaped his grasp, he's likely looking for you. I mean, he's not going to let you get away. Though his plans for you may not be slavery or even pit fighting. He may just want your blood.
I just want to spit in his eye.
He is more than welcome to try.
Well, if you can find Barta, you might be able to convince her to take you to it.
No. That makes me sad. I like the meat in that tavern. No, I can't go back there.
Well, we can go back there. We
But
just
how-
go back there with a different purpose.
How vengeful is this group? We killed how many? 3, 4 of them? I lost count. We were in the cups.
More than one and less than 20.
Fair enough.
It depends which ones you killed. If he likes them, he'll be more inclined to come after you. If they're just more of his thugs, he might let it pass.
How powerful is this band?
As I said, the praetor of the city turns a blind eye.
Hmm. That's. Maybe we should hop on a boat for a little while.
It would take the attention off of us if we did.
Maybe they'll forget about us.
Yeah.
It was dark.
I'm sure that the honey will stay cool for us when we return.
It will still be a place we can enter without being barred from.
Most definitely. And I'm sure there's bands of Northmen and Cruach and Vaticans walking around. They probably wouldn't find us again. We don't send out that much, do we? Kind of like.
Oh yes, and this time of year, very easy for you to blend in. Well, many folks come to the city in the winter to escape the cold.
You seem like a merchant. Do you own a ship that we could protect? That's
That's fine shit. He kind of points down the nearby dock, and you see a moderate-sized cog of a vessel. Looks to be fairly decent condition. Small crew, but certainly like a light trader, light freighter kind of a ship.
Do all the Ulo's men wear the tattoo? Or only just his thugs?
Willow's men all wear his mark. He insists on it. Whether you are his slavers, his fighters, even his working girls wear his symbol.
I just scan his exposed skin to see if he has the mark.
He smiles and he chuckles a bit. He's like, "Hope to find an owl on me." No, and he actually pulls up his sleeves, and you can see he's actually tattooed, but he's tattooed with these 2 sea serpents on his arms, with the heads on the back of his hands. It's like, only my guardian spirits.
No offense, you must understand though. I've been hunted before. I don't trust many, so
I have no love for Ulo. I do not employ slaves. All my oarsmen are free men.
I'm Igor, and I extend a hand. What's your name?
Welcome, Igor. Nice to meet you. I am Kaza.
Your information is good. And I slip him a gold piece.
He accepts it, bites it, to make sure it's genuine, and then slips it away in his purse. Well, if you are looking for work, I set sail uh, tomorrow morning. I'm taking on freight now. If you can abide one more night in the city,
I whisper to Aesgear in like our northern
What,
dialect. I bet you a copper that we're going to be on that boat tomorrow.
I'm wondering if we should stay the night on the boat.
if you wish to hire on as caravan guards, I would be happy to put you up and have hammocks below deck. Or if you prefer to sleep on the under the stars, it's a bit cold, but we can put a brazier out for you.
We could wrap ourselves up in something warm and get below deck and possibly be safer than we would out in the street.
What do you think, Orvar? Is that our path?
I'll respond to Orvar in Northern dialect saying, I bet a copper point will be there tonight.
I hear what you're saying, Asgear.
I don't know. I fear no birds. I'm more than willing to walk around the streets for a little bit before we head to the boat or whatever.
Kaza, save us a place to sleep aboard the boat tonight. We'll be back here for the night.
Very well.
Yeah, I have an old man I wish to find before we depart. I owe him something.
We'll be back.
Okay.
We're going to run this errand with Orvar, and we'll be back.
Very good. He holds out his hand to you, Igor.
I nod.
He looks bewildered. He's like, "We'll see you this evening, then."
Igor messes up the gesture. He totally screws it up.
Be well, warriors. Remember, we set sail early tomorrow. If you're not on my boat, well, you're not on my boat. He kind of turns and kind of chuckles off, walking down the gangplank, barking orders at his crew.
So Aesgear will sort of discreetly follow him at a distance. The idea is not to follow him, but is to get closer to the boat and observe the crew working on it. And just sort of try to judge the level of their morale, if you will. Like, do these people feel totally exhausted by, like, they're overworked, or do they feel happy about the load the cargo that they're loading onto the boat? You know, thinking of whatever money they're going to make from this.
Okay. So the crew only appears to be about 10. And they're busy in the rigging and cleaning the decks and stuff. And there seems to be a fair amount of good-natured camaraderie between them. The cargo is being moved by, based on your experience with the city, what looks to be paid porters. Again, not slaves, but men who are paid coin to move freight, who are often found around the ports, just sort of free labor, not free labor, but labor for hire. And they're other than being barked at very specific orders and commands, they're not being abused or whipped or anything like that. They're just it's a pretty above board looking ship. I mean, typical salty dogs, but definitely in good spirits.
Okay.
The ship looks ready to sail, right? It's ready to go as far as the sails and everything. They're all.
Yeah, it looks like they're just they're cleaning it. They're doing general maintenance on the deck, and directing the cargo. The crew themselves are readying the ship, and making sure that it's all clean and there's clearly a quartermaster on board who's directing the cargo and everything.
You're right, Aesgear. Okay. We could leave tonight if we would choose to do that. You know what I mean?
Yep. But it does seem like a good ship to be on.
Okay.
And so, what about this person we want to go visit, Orvar? Tell me more.
Well, he's a drunk old sod of a man who's left us in the lurch when we were being attacked. I'm just curious if he was part of the ambush or if he just was unlucky.
Oh,
I'm-
that guy. I barely remembered his face from last night, but that might be due to the cups that I was in.
I don't like to be deceived. I find it dishonorable. But maybe I'm just angry. Maybe I can let
Well,
it go.
Fortune may hand us his trail, so to speak. I have all my provisions. I have no other need to be in this town. So I'm perfectly willing to go see if we just happen upon him or his friends, and I don't intend to be so obnoxious as to alert the guards and be thrown in jail tonight, but there are things we can do otherwise.
That's true.
Well, I would agree with Orvar. We should say goodbye to this man before we leave town, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, we were saying the same thing, just differently.
I don't know. I don't let my anger get the best of me. If we see him, we'll talk to him. But I'm worried that if we push our luck, we might end up in the stocks or worse. So
Or worse. The
He may not
dungeon.
have had a choice. I mean, if it's this, he may have been forced to do what he did. That doesn't mean I'm happy about it. But we had a glorious battle that we won.
That is
and,
true.
Yeah.
So we can look at it like he led us into a glorious battle that we
Well,
won.
hopefully they paid him well before they died.
that's true.
And
Maybe that's what the gold pieces were for.
I
In
think
which
that's
case they
who,
paid us.
I think that's who supplied him with his cups that night. That's for sure.
Yeah.
If anything, we can get more information out of this guy and find out a little bit more about the gang, a little bit more about Ulo.
But again, he may have just been a drunk in the wrong place at the wrong time, like we were. So I don't know.
Well, Drogo brought up a good point. We had fun, regardless of the outcome, or at least I had fun. It was a glorious fight, and we lived to see the end of it.
Not just lived, we were victorious.
Yes.
They ran in fear.
Yeah, he ran into an eye. It is true. My anger is what got me exiled from my homeland in the first place. So maybe I should listen to more measured tones. Drogo, what you say makes sense to me. Maybe I'll let my anger go this night.
Anger can be a gift. Anger
Definitely.
can push you through difficult times and difficult battles.
Very
But
true.
anger should be a fire, not a smoldering coal. So, yes, I agree. Let's go about the town, see what we could see, and try to not cause trouble, so that we can be on a boat tonight. And as you said, Igor, find glorious adventure.
Porter! Yo, Porter! On the boat. Do you hear me?
He lifts his head up. What do you want?
We're at the dock. Where can I find fresh fish caught today?
You can see his eye roll from here. It's like, it's a port. They're everywhere.
Right there.
I look around.
I pull Igor.
There are literally fish, fish carts and drying fish on racks all around up and down the dock.
You probably follow our nose.
Yeah. I turn to my nearest companion and I say, I bet you a copper piece he's got a stuffy nose.
Hard to have a stuffy nose down here on the waterfront.
So as you're looking around, it's and listening to him, you can see that there is fish literally everywhere, as well as other cargo. But for the most part, I mean, definitely fish.
I look
My
for
friend
some,
Igor is
look for
focused.
a container, a bucket, a barrel of fish anywhere where they've caught them, and I try to get a few of them.
All right. You're easily able to procure as many as you need. Really, you're getting straight off the dock here. So, if you're looking for small, little, easy fish, a copper a piece, up to like large, like whole silver piece fish, if you need them.
I just
Uh,
want something that's small enough that I could hide it either in my backpack or in one of my larger belts, pouches, or something.
All right, you're easily able to procure that.
All right. Well,
All right. So where are you heading from here?
Back to the street in front of the honey tart.
No, I think I agree with the other gentleman that the honey tart is something. We have a destination tonight, Igor. If we didn't, then I would agree that there's got to be something other than vengeance to find in this town for the day that we have.
Igor
Yeah.
sits on the dock while he's talking, and he pulls out his knife and he starts cleaning a fish, and then he eats the raw fillets while he's talking.
I say to Lucaldo, Cobbler, why don't we find out if we can hear more information about these pirates that we're going to be hunting anyway? All we have is rumors. Hopefully this is untrue.
Yes, that is
What
a very good
plan for the support?
We should check out the other boats, see if any of them seem to have recently suffered damage from an attack.
There you go.
Oscar, you're on the right track, I believe. So, shall we?
Let's go.
Lead the way.
You're gonna sort of go down the boat, the various line of boats, and sort of inspect them for damage, or are you gonna talk to the crews, or
Well, looking for damage or signs that a crew is, maybe has suffered a loss.
Obviously bandaged up, or
Yeah, exactly.
We make small talk with the crews of the other boats along the dock, maybe just passively gathering that information that he's talking about while we're talking to them.
okay. So cumulatively, I mean, you do get a sense that several of the ships here have come under attack. One of them even shows signs of having suffered fire damage. Its main mast is burnt and broken, and it's got scorch marks on its deck. There are also several crew that are operating with bandages on them and stuff on several of the ships. So it's clear that it is an actual present danger out in the sea.
The size of our boat, how many people do you think at most would fit crew-wise? Is it a small vessel?
Yeah, your ship that you're setting out on has a small crew of about maybe 10, 15 men.
Okay. So that also limits the amount of invaders that onboard our ship when the pirates come to try to take it. So that's a good thing.
You did notice that the particular ship you're setting out on does not seem to have any emplaced weapons. It doesn't have like any catapults or anything on it. It's unarmed.
Not even a ballista.
No, no weapons mounted on the boat at least.
I look at my crew and like I have a bow and I have an arrow. How far can you throw your dagger? How far can you throw your axe? Do you want to should we look into possibly getting some more missile weapons?
Yeah,
I pull
because
out my short bow off my back and I hold it up to Orvar and put it back.
Well, yes, I saw that when we were walking, Kruosh, but thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe you
Like the
forgot,
great-
buddy.
No, I'm well aware that you're good with the bow.
that is also a good plan.
Yeah.
If there is somebody along the way that just looks like they were hammered as far as their boat, probably the burnt one, I'll go over there and do healing on the worst. I'll try to do triage on somebody, and they'll get a hit point back. But he's kind of like just doing that for everybody. But the worst one, he'll actually.
Okay.
Ace Gear will. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Ace Gear will, agree with Orvar that getting more missiles is a good idea, and thinking that pebbles tend to be hard to reach in the ocean, will go on the waterfront. Usually, there'll be a not a sandy beach, but pebbles on the beach somewhere, and he'll try and collect more than he usually has.
Yeah.
So.
Based on the topography here, you'd probably have to go outside the city wall to find any exposed beach, unless you're going to go crawling around underneath the docks.
Yeah. Okay. And then, in that case, I'll just look around the streets because for any chunks of rocks that are a good size to use as sling stones.
Yeah. You do find there are ballast heaps and stuff in proximity though, so you could probably pull some rocks off those because of course the ships are going to always need to adjust ballast based on their load.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll do that then.
As Lucovo's like administering first aid, I'll talk to some of the sailors and say, "My good man, how many boats were you assailed by? Was it one boat, two boats? What kind of like? How badly were you damaged?"
We hear tale that there are more than one vessel out there, but the one that come after us, 'twas a red galleon, 3 sails, two decks of oars.
How did you escape them?
We threw our cargo overboard and ran.
But they still damaged your boat. Angrily, were they?
Well, their ship was something nasty. Big brass figurehead on the front of it, spitting fire.
Doesn't sound very. You're lucky to survive.
Oarsmen, you say? Wow.
It was a big one. I mean, if I didn't know it was, if I didn't know that it was Carousing, I would say that it was a Legion vessel. It was an Imperial ship. It was a warship, not a pirate vessel.
Yeah, it sounds like what would be, I think, Arturian. Is that correct?
Or from some other nation down south. Either that or it's Carousing, like an actual Carousing war galleon.
Was it flying any flags?
No banner whatsoever.
How do you know they're Caravossan?
The other ships that have been attacking in the area are Carousing. We just figured part of the same fleet.
Would they be privateers instead of pirates in that case?
Didn't stop to ask. But, I mean, that's the one that got us. Some of the other boats, they've just been hit with small, fast galleys, a ram on the prow. boarding parties of Marines.
Sorry, is this like a new thing that's been happening, or has this been something that's always been happening? I'm not from here. I'm from the north.
No, normally it's your folk who are doing the raiding around here. The Caravosans up this way is new.
Well, we raid differently. We raid honorably. We don't shoot you with fire, cut you down with an axe.
If it isn't the men from the north, it's the men from the Isles or the men from the Eastern Kingdoms. This sea is dangerous on a regular day, but these ships, they're something new.
Maybe we need to hug the coastline a little close, so in case we need to make a quick escape, we can jump off.
From what I hear, once you make it out of the sea, the bay here, then kind of fair game until you can hit south of the Isles and into the open sea.
Drogo, did you need me to go get arrows? I have to go get a bow. Were you, Orvar had a good idea, I believe.
I really have no use for a bow. I am not proficient with a bow.
Oh.
It's not my preferred weapon.
Lucaldo,
I mean-
I use a bow. Let's get more arrows. I believe Orvar does as well.
Okay.
I mean, I could fire arrows at random things and maybe hit something.
We'll get
Well-
a small barrel and we'll put a bunch of arrows in it, and me and Orvar will just take turns plucking them out, shooting them, plucking them out, shooting them from the boat when we're getting.
I will say this, Drogo. A lot of the battles I've been in, most of the archers were doing exactly that. Just firing into the air, even if they were skilled. So I shall procure you a bow and the arrows. So after he's done doing his first aid, he'll go off, and whoever wants to go with him is fine.
Are you a healer, Lucaldo? Is that what I saw?
Yes, sir. I dabble in a lot of things. I am in search of lore, in search of knowledge, and luckily, how to heal was one of the items that I've learned how to do.
Knowledge. Interesting.
It's a different strength, my friend.
I've never read a book.
You don't need to read books. Sometimes it's just watching others. Learn from nature. Learn from your friends. The way Orvar is proficient with his bow. That's not something I know how to do. I'm proficient with daggers. Maybe it'll carry over. I would also like to learn the language that he keeps banding about. I know quite a few languages, but that's not one of them yet.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask around, like where we can maybe find a Boyer or a Fletcher, so I get some more bowstrings, maybe more arrows, things like that.
Yeah, you're easily able to get directions down here on the docks. Plenty of folks around here know the city, and they direct you to a Bowyer Fletcher in town, and sort of in the merchant district, which is a nice neighborhood. If you happen to head there, it's pretty well built up. A lot of storefronts with apartments above, kind of a setup. Open shuttered fronts with their wares out ahead, and signage that points you easily in the direction of the merchants you're looking for.
Right.
So if you're going to acquire ammunition and stuff, go ahead and purchase it. Spend your gold.
We'll do some
Yep,
shopping.
yep.
Do a little bit of shopping. If you're going to be doing anything else, picking up any other supplies, just go ahead and note it down. I mean, in the merchant district here, you'll be able to find most common goods. If you need, clothing, even armor, it's there.
Just for the record, Luculda won't be able to use a bow any better than Drogo, but you didn't know that.
Crossbow is probably easier, but more expensive.
Yeah, he's pretty much limited to blades and staves. But flinging arrows.
Crossbows are not available.
Yeah, in this setting, there are no crossbows, at least not in these parts.
Yeah, fair enough.
The only crossbow that does exist in this setting is the light crossbow, and you have to go farther south to get them.
Right.
Ace Gear will purchase a couple of small casks of, if he can find it, mead, otherwise beer.
Yeah.
Your proximity to the Northlands makes mead pretty available here. Those Northmen, those Frost Barbarians who do not engage in raiding, engage in trade and commerce, and they love to bring their mead this way.
It's a good idea.
I grab a small piece section of net from the docks somewhere, and I go collect a whole bunch of fish from wherever I can snatch them, and I tie them up on the boat for eating later.
Okay, so you're going to get some fish for provisioning. Drogo, you doing anything while you're in the merchant district?
No. Mm-mm.
So being a wild man, you're kind of in the city here.
This is seriously outside of my realm.
You do pass by a shop that seems to have caged animals out front. Small, bear like chickens and stuff at first, but you do see that they have some songbirds and stuff that are kept inside.
Do they have any ferrets?
Why would you want a ferret?
Because I'm a beastmaster.
Roll me a
I have to have a ferret.
Go ahead and roll me a d6.
Okay.
I don't know. A monkey sounds interesting too.
4.
4. No ferrets, but they do have other small animals. You see that they have fox, actually a couple of badgers.
Honey badger.
Not honey badgers. Good old-fashioned European badgers.
Just for the hell of it, how much is the badger?
The badger? The badger will run you 2 gold.
I shall buy a badger.
Okay. For the badger, we shall use the stats, because they do not have the mechanics of a badger.
We now have a ship mascot.
We do.
Don't mess with the badger.
Copperpiece says
I
he
have to
found
keep
your
an eye on
fish.
that fish now.
All right, so we'll figure out the stats for badgers later on, but
I will ask the badger if he has a name, if he can communicate with me.
we will use the stats for a giant rat for a badger.
There we go. That works. It's essentially the same thing.
I needed to make sure that a giant rat wasn't like 8 million hit dice in OSE. Seeing as that I thought you was 15 hit dice. I'm like,
I will write it into battle.
so you have a badger, and at this point, you don't have the ability to so much speak with animals yet, but you do have an animal affinity. The speak with animals does not come until 2nd level.
I should probably look at my.
You can understand the basic meaning of beasts. They can understand the meaning of your basic meaning of your words, but you can't understand them. So you can talk to them, and they can react to body language. So
I shall name him Bob.
But you're easily able to befriend the badger because you can talk to him, and oddly enough, this person can understand you. So you have liberated a badger.
I've liberated Bob the Badger.
Okay.
Well, I'll speak of Drogo. You have a way with animals. I see.
I do, yes. I find them sometimes preferable to humans.
I asked one of the porters on this boat that we have, I asked him, what is the name of our vessel?
Who'd you ask this of?
They're one of the porters just working.
All right. So once you get back to the port, then I'm assuming, because your guys in the merchant district, so so you wouldn't really have anybody to ask that right now.
Oh, okay. I thought I was back there getting the fish while they were.
Oh no. Okay, you weren't with the rest of the group. Okay, cool. Yes, in that case, yes, you're able to get a name from them. He says that the ship is called the Silver Serpent. All right. And so you're kind of getting set up on the ship while they're off shopping then?
Yeah, I'm just collecting the stuff and
All right.
keeping an eye on the boat while they're gone too, and
Yeah.
all the people on it.
Yeah, and you kind of meet the quartermaster. He actually shows you below and shows you where you guys will be able to set up some hammocks and stuff if you want. It's very
I find a spot in the corner and I stake it out just for myself, the coolest spot.
All right.
And again, as like I'm, haggling for bowstrings and arrows and stuff, I keep a sharp eye out for owl tattoos and a certain drunken old man.
Okay. So spending your time in the merchant district, it seems a higher class area, at least as far as the people working here. There are definitely, cheaper market stalls and stuff. There's actually in the center of this district, there is a kind of just a sort of a market stall area with lots of little tents and stuff set up for open air stalls with the kind of a large square of shops around the edge of it. You do occasionally see an owl tattoo, like pretty boldly positioned. I mean, at one point you see a neck tattoo of an owl. One guy with a smooth balded head has it on the back of his head. In fact, and they're just kind of walking around, and you see them occasionally walking to shops, staying for a few moments, and then coming out.
Yeah, I'm not going to accost anybody. I'm just keeping an eye out, seeing how many I see and how they operate. Now I know they're involved with the city themselves. I'm not going to start any trouble. Potentially city watch. So
during your time here in the merchant district, you count probably a good 5 individuals that you can identify with the tattoo.
And of course, I mentioned to my comrades that I see at least 5 of those owls walking around. Plain as day.
That's the tattoo. Okay.
Yeah. They do have some strength here.
The far end of the merchant district, you can also see a pretty high wall. And on the other side of that wall is a very tall, thin tower. Does not look like a lighthouse or anything like that. It's not attached to the city's fortress.
Is it taller than the city walls?
It is taller than the city walls.
I find the prettiest lady walking by, and I'll ask her, "Excuse me, what is exactly is that tower? I'm not from here." I'm curious. almost as fine as you are.
She smiles at the obvious flattery, and she looks kind of in the direction that you're pointing. She's like, that would be the House of Scothos.
Again, from the north. Who is? Can you enlighten me of who and or what that may mean? I'm a curious fellow.
She chuckles almost amusedly, almost mockingly. She's like, you do not know who Scothos is. Scothos is a wise man, a man of magics and mystery. He keeps to himself in his gardens and his tower. But there have been some coming and going lately about his tower, though.
And I'll mention some random lore from the north, and I'll ask her, "Do you know of that? Do you know of that person?" And then I kind of laugh. See,
She
because you're not from somewhere doesn't mean you don't know anything.
She wrinkles her nose, clearly disgruntled at your counterattack. And she kind of turns her nose up with a haughty twist and sort of walks past you and continues out. Returns to the group that she was with, and you can see them sort of talking amongst themselves and casting evil eyes over their shoulders at you.
Where
You
is
threw vinegar in the whole pot, didn't you?
They pretend they don't like it, but you never know.
So
They
you
don't
continue,
do that.
you continue your shopping then, and then return to the ship.
Yep.
Yep.
So you're-
Finally that away, but yeah.
You got your start of the day kind of late in the morning. You've made your afternoon of shopping. It is evening and already starting to get dark with these late months. As you return to the docks, it's not dark. It's just a hazy dusk. Early winter, late fall dusk. And you get back to the ship, where you find Igor already having settled in.
You see when you go down below deck, you see that he's already staked off his own cot area in the corner, and he's already carelessly throwing the food scraps of the fish onto the floor next to him around it.
So
you're that kind of roommate.
Yes. His boots are off at this point, and he's just sitting in the hammock, eating a fish. So what'd you guys find out over there? He says.
I tell them
Hold
about
up,
the owls that I see, and then
All
the
the owls, all the arrows.
Oh, you did good on your promise not to start a fight. That's good.
No, some wench decided to start a fight with words, but I won that one.
Of course.
She wasn't all that pretty, anyways.
okay, so I think at this point we're at a good place to stop the night before you head out on your voyage. Real quick, thanks to everybody who tuned in today. We actually made it up to 12 people watching at one point. Great.
Woo!
Great game, great session again, guys. Lots of cool role playing. I'm going to go ahead, kind of go roundabout here. Drogo, favorite part of tonight's game, favorite moment.
Just honestly, the role play aspect of it. The fight was cool, of course. But role play is just as much fun as the fights. So
Excellent.
I enjoyed that.
Excellent. Ace Gear?
Drogo launching those two axes at the men. I quite
Complete
enjoyed that.
whiff.
Yeah, just like not waiting for anything. Go for it.
Awesome. Ricardo.
I think actually I did like the role playing, but just the sheer awesomeness in a way of um, Orvar just launching the arrows and Igor's spear. It's just like just the visualization of the quick kills and the lethality of this game. It's pretty telling.
Cool. Igor.
Seeing Lucaldo in that fight we got into with just holding his staff, and he's like, over there. Driving my spear through that guy's Adam's apple was
That was awesome.
That was really
very
cool.
good to me. I like that.
Excellent. Orvar.
I did like the "Where's the fish" moment, but I like how like the city there's like taking shape, and I'm starting to like picture it in my head, and just the sights and the smells and the sounds, and how it's just sort of like I can sort of like how I can sort of picture it. That's really it's kind of like really grabbing this.
I'm glad you appreciate that, and it's fun. I mean, honestly, you guys are an excellent group of players. I enjoy all the characters. You are all very individual characters with your own idiosyncrasies and your own things going on. So it's very easy to run for you guys. So yeah, I like that you're all kind of willing to take the time to play the scenes. And so yeah, I'm enjoying it. We're moving towards something. You guys are actually feeding into the things that I'm throwing out at you and looking for new stuff. So I really appreciate that as well. All right. That's
I would second what you said. The way that everyone's playing, kind of unique, not monotone, but everybody's got their own little inflections. I really like that. I think it adds a lot of texture.
yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing where things go. Let's do a quick XP for tonight. Everybody will get 110.
Okay.
All right, and of course, I'm using slightly modified BX style XP for this campaign because the sort of Conan-esque setting does not have like massive amounts of treasure laying around that you can get for gold for XP. So I'm adjusting for accomplishments and story beats for XP, along with XP for monsters and fights. If you do find big things, you will still get XP for gold. I'm also going to be giving XP for the gold piece value of any magic items you find, which is not normal. But because, again, they're super rare in a setting like this, and treasure hoards are not common, I got to balance it out. Also wanted to revisit for the viewers and also for you guys, we are using the modified criticals, where when you go to 0, you are not instantly dead. You're going to roll, and we're going to see what happens to you. The results are anything from a knockout to an injury to death or a mortal wound. We're not doing -10, having to track negative hit points or anything like that, but I'm also not doing insta kill at 0, which would be normal for BX. Let's see, but also is not fitting for this setting. Remember, you also have luck points. None of you know how many you have, but you have them to spend. I did make that doc available if you need to review that for what you can spend on. And then also we're using heroic healing from Conan, the Conan modules for AD&D, which is 1 hit point a day healed regardless of rest. And when you do rest, you heal half your constitution in hit points.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that brings us to the end of session 2. We've got a couple more minutes, so anybody have any last remarks before we say our good nights?
How much XP for getting a war galley?
How much XP for getting a galley?
Just kidding.
When you get one, we'll find out. Yeah, that would be quite the accomplishment. All right, cool. Well, another great session. 2 weeks from now, same Savage time, same Savage channel. We'll be back and swinging swords. Another session of By the Sword.
Swinging swords and hucking badgers.
Yeah.
That is 3. I'm a badger now. All right, have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
We're gonna
Good night.